She's white. And because of that, when you consider some of the hard times other people gave her, they were resentful of the fact that this white girl came on the scene where there was a bunch of sisters that preceded her spanning decades that were big time that deserved a lot of credit. I mean, people looked at the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Maya Moores of the world, and others, and they said, yo, there was a bunch of people that came before her that did big things for the WNBA. I respect it. It is right. I appreciate it. But whiteness does have its privileges, especially when you got a game. And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the gain on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there and it was done in 2 weeks. That's who.
Stephen A. Smith just issued what could be the WNBA's ultimate warning, a wake-up call the league can't afford to ignore. Caitlin Clark, the superstar who single-handedly pulled the WNBA into the national spotlight, is one wrong move away from walking away for good. Her salary, a complete joke. The physical toll she faces every game, borderline criminal. Meanwhile, Unrivaled is offering equity and six-figure paychecks for just 8 weeks of basketball. The WNBA is gambling its future, betting that their brightest star will tolerate disrespect forever. Will Caitlin Clark stay loyal to a league that undervalues her, or take the money and respect Unrivaled is ready to hand her? Sound off in the comments. What would you do?
Next question, row 3 in the center.
Annie Constable, Front Office Sports. This one's for you, Caitlin. Where does your W salary stack up against your deals with State Farm, Gatorade, Nike?
It's a good question. Honestly, I feel like that's where we're really fortunate, is that we have those other deals. And I think that's one of the things that we're in the room fighting for, like Fee said, is, we should be paid more. And hopefully that's the case moving forward as the league continues to grow. I think that's something that's probably the most important thing that we're in the room advocating about.
Let's face the uncomfortable truth, Stephen A. Smith won't stop shouting, and WNBA executives keep ignoring. Caitlin Clark makes just $76,000 a year while carrying the weight of an entire professional league on her shoulders. That $76,000 won't even cover a year's rent in many of the cities she plays in. Meanwhile, NBA mascots pull six-figure paychecks just for bouncing around in foam costumes during commercials. Yet the woman who revived this league's relevance, she's getting middle management level pay. Are we finally ready to acknowledge the Caitlin Clark effect? The ratings don't lie. Remember those weeks she was sidelined? The league felt it immediately. Don't make me dig up the receipts, because when Caitlin Clark was out, the impact was undeniable.
The WNBA's popularity dissipated. That is a fact. Ticket prices, television ratings, it's a fact. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. That's not to throw shade on a product and act like it doesn't grow at all. It's not to say that there wasn't improvement and there wasn't an elevation in its popularity. It's just saying that it's on another dimension when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Do you know what the best thing that could happen for the WNBA is right now? Are you ready for this? If Caitlin Clark and the Fever win the championship. If that girl won the championship.
The financial disrespect would almost be funny if it weren't so devastating. Remember, this is the athlete who delivered record-breaking ratings, filled arenas that used to echo with emptiness, and forced the league to finally charter flights instead of cramming players into economy seats. Caitlin Clark is the reason WNBA salaries are on the brink of a league-wide boost. She's why media companies are suddenly throwing hundreds of millions at broadcast deals. And her reward for this economic miracle? A paycheck that wouldn't cover 6 months of rent in Manhattan. Stephen A. Smith has hammered this point relentlessly. $76,000 in the WNBA versus a $28 million Nike contract, plus millions more from Gatorade, State Farm, and Wilson. The math is brutal. Every time she steps on a WNBA court, she's bleeding money after personal security, travel costs, and the physical toll on her body. And that toll is where Stephen A. Smith's warning shifts from financial critique to prophecy. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing hard. She's being hunted every night. Kennedy Carter's hip check? Not a play, it was assault with witnesses. And Angel Reese and her teammates filmed celebrating it. That shows the toxic culture Clark is trapped inside. We all know exactly what she brings to this league and what she sacrifices to stay.
But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here. And y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up. Who cares? If you're Magic and Bird, that didn't stop Jordan from coming along and doing what he did.
Stephen A. Smith keeps asking the obvious question, where's the protection? And it's one WNBA leadership can't or won't answer. In the NBA, when Steph Curry or LeBron James attack the basket, referees blow the whistle instantly because those players are the product. If they go down injured, the league's revenue takes a massive hit. But in the WNBA, officials swallow their whistles while veterans pummel the league's top attraction with zero consequences. This isn't just poor officiating, it's catastrophic business. Every uncalled foul, every cheap shot, every time Caitlin Clark hits the floor without a whistle, her management team recalculates risk. Nike wagered $28 million on her peak performance. Gatorade and State Farm built entire campaigns around her image. One torn ACL at poverty wages, and the financial fallout would shake the industry to its core.
The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up. Who cares? If you're Magic and Bird, that didn't stop Jordan from coming along and doing what he did. Over the years that followed, it didn't stop the Vince Carters of the world, the Allen Iversons of the world, the Shaq Diesel, Shaquille O'Neals of the world, the Hakeem Olajuwons of the world, the Charles Barkleys of the world. Not necessarily in that order, of course, because he came before all of those guys that I mentioned. How about a Vince Carter? How about a Kobe Bryant? It didn't stop them. The fact of the matter is that it has to start somewhere. And if it starts somewhere, a rising tide lifts all boats. You jump on that tide, you jump on that boat and elevate and use them to elevate your play or to elevate the attention you garner. It's very simple, but people didn't want to do that. There was a lot of people that didn't want to do that. Let's call it what it is. I ain't going to mention no names, but y'all know who they are, and they didn't want to do that. And I'm not talking about players and just players. Talk about announcers too. Talk about pundits as well.
The veteran resentment fueling this WNBA dysfunction isn't competitive spirit, it's emotional sabotage. Instead of embracing Caitlin Clark, the player who elevated the league into the mainstream, established stars are trying to humble her at every turn. Cheryl Swoops downplayed her record-breaking stats. Diana Taurasi issued cryptic warnings about the pressures of professional play. The root cause? Insecurity. These veterans spent years grinding in obscurity, earning almost nothing, only to see Clark arrive and instantly get charter flights, huge endorsements, and international attention. Clark didn't break the WNBA's financial system, she exposed it. Stephen A. Smith has repeatedly called out this toxic mean girl energy, and he's right. The league stars should be thanking her for the salaries and improved conditions her revenue helped make possible. Instead, they treat her like an invader. No rational person would stay in a job where colleagues celebrate your failures unless you had zero alternatives. But Caitlin Clark does have alternatives. Enter Unrivaled, co-founded by Brianna Stewart and Fisa Collier. Unlike the WNBA, Unrivaled treats stars as irreplaceable assets. They're offering Clark a deal with equity, ownership stakes, and six-figure pay for just 8 weeks of basketball. That's not a paycheck, it's generational wealth. For comparison, she could play a short winter season, make 5 times her WNBA salary, avoid the brutal 40-game grind, and still remain the richest and most relevant female basketball player on the planet. The WNBA can't compete financially. Their salary cap, tied to revenue sharing, prevents them from paying Clark what she's worth without triggering raises across the roster. Unrivaled has no such limits. They can pay stars like stars. Treating all players equally may feel fair, but it's economically suicidal when one player generates most of your revenue. Stephen A. Smith understands this better than almost anyone. He's been warning the league. If they don't protect Caitlin Clark, she will leave, and when she does, the fans, sponsors, and media attention go with her. The Caitlin Clark effect is real. Indiana Fever games outdraw NBA playoff matchups in some markets. Ticket prices, TV ratings, and media deals are all built around her. Lose her, and the league craters. Her business team is running the numbers. WNBA salary $76,000. Injury risk extremely high due to poor officiating and targeted attacks. Emotional toll massive. Alternative, unrivaled, equity, six-figure pay, safer environment, respect. The choice is obvious. Loyalty only goes so far, especially when the league actively undermines its star. Physical targeting is another concern. Basketball is already brutal. Add deliberate fouls and cheap shots, and Clark's career could be ended in a single play. Sponsors like Nike didn't invest $28 million to watch her risk injury for pocket change. They need her healthy and performing. The WNBA has a tiny window to act, yet leadership continues to underestimate her leverage. Stephen A. Smith's warning is simple. Caitlin Clark won't tolerate disrespect forever. The league is paying poverty wages while allowing veterans to target her and undermine her publicly. Meanwhile, Unrivaled offers respect, equity, and real pay. If the WNBA doesn't act immediately, their golden goose flies, and with her, the league collapses back into irrelevance. This isn't speculation, it's business reality, and the clock is ticking.